I'm standing here in a parking lot above the Whidbey Island ferry, and we moved to this island about a year ago now, just over a year ago, even though I work full-time for a company based in Redmond, which is a ferry's ride away. It's not like I can just drive here. So I had to consider that if I move to an island, I have to take into account the ferry, the time it takes to wait for the ferry, and sometimes, as it is now, due to COVID and other restrictions, we have to wait almost an hour for the next ferry. So this makes it difficult to even consider a daily commute. Why did we move here? What decisions led to us moving here? And what is it that we really like about this island? And what do we think about it now after a year of living here? Back in February of 2020, I was flying back from India via Singapore on a business trip. And as I entered Singapore, they already had scanners for all the visitors coming in from the planes for temperature changes. They were on the lookout for anyone who had a high temperature. This was the first realization I had that COVID-19 was real. I entered the United States after that, and of course there were no provisions for scanning anybody. In the same year, 2020, the company that I worked for started taking precautions. They started sending people home. We were able to work from home quite easily because we were all basically working on PCs and laptops, and we could remotely connect to Teams calls and join meetings without physically being there. It's been 2 years since then, and we're still working from home. There are people that we've recruited into our team across the group who are now even more widely dispersed across the globe. And so even if we were to move back to the office, I would still be on the phone. I would still be in Teams meetings, talking to people remotely. And so we're thinking, what would be the point of going into an office again? About a year ago, knowing that things had really changed and we weren't going to go back to what was normal anymore, it made it possible for me to think about looking a little further away from the office. My wife had been doing some crafting, and she was buying various things for sale at a local store that sold crafts and antiques and so on. And she was very into that. And so we were looking for somewhere which might have a bit more storage. And so I had this permanent search. It wasn't really an active search. I just perused Redfin occasionally. And I got notifications whenever a piece of land came up that had a workshop. And so this one came up on Whidbey Island with 8 acres of land. And I was really interested in having a look at it. And when my wife saw the house, the kitchen, the laundry room, the workshop, and the land, she was really interested too. So when we came and had a look at it, we brought the checkbook. We already knew we were that interested. And once we had a look around, we looked at the house and the quality of everything that had been built. We were really happy with it. The thought that using a ferry to get to the office, because this was on an island, didn't daunt me at all. In fact, it was more daunting to the bank when we were applying for the mortgage than it was for me. They were all worried about me getting to the office on a daily basis. Not a problem, I said. This would be just fine. Then we moved in December of 2020. Barely a year since COVID-19 had started to make a difference in everybody's lives. So let's get back to why I moved, why I was looking in the first place. I was in the previous house for 20 years, and I'd noticed over those 20 years that the traffic and the noise, even the aircraft, were starting to increase in frequency, and it was getting noisier and noisier. Our neighbors, bless them, were also into rock tumbling, and this was starting to get kind of annoying. So this is why we moved. Now, of course, it makes the commute a little harder, but the commute is not really in existence now. This place is a paradise, especially in the summer. People come over and we love to spend time with friends and family. But it has been a little bit isolated, and this is mostly due to COVID-19. There are no communities open, there are no restaurants that are fully open, things are just locked down. So we're hoping as we head into February now of 2022, things will start getting back to some kind of normality over this coming year, and maybe we'll meet some people and make some new friends. And that's what we're looking forward to for this year.